From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Brigida Mack. Thanks for joining us for the October 31st edition of Carolina Week.
And I'm Tim Nelson. Tonight on Carolina Week, we bring you our special election coverage from Chapel Hill and Carrboro.
In addition to the mayoral races in both towns, we'll take a look at the two biggest issues facing voters: affordable housing and transportation.
And we'll let you know when and where to vote on Election Day.
We begin with the race for mayor in Chapel Hill, where residents now have one less choice for mayor.
Cam Hill withdrew from the mayoral race Tuesday. Hill, who is new to the world of politics, has decided to support candidate Kevin Foy. Hill gave us this statement: "I withdrew from the race because I got to learn more about both candidates over the past 6 to 8 weeks. I became more afraid that Lee Pavao would win, so I wanted to throw my support behind Kevin."
With Hill out of the race, some voters will have to reconsider their choice for Chapel Hill mayor. The remaining candidates are Kevin Foy and Lee Pavao. The big issue in this election, the relationship between the university and the town. Carolina Week's Renner Vaughn has more.
Who will be Chapel Hill's next leader? Attorney Kevin Foy has served 4 years on the town council. He believes handling area growth wisely is the answer to improving town-gown relations.
We're facing a lot of issues of growth. The question is, how do we manage it so that Chapel Hill is a better place to live tomorrow than it is today?
And Foy says one way to improve community life is through protecting the environment.
We can't continue to degrade the environment and expect to have a place that we want to live in.
Foy's opponent, Lee Pavao, is also competing for the mayoral seat. He has served 8 years in the town council. Pavao wants more student participation in Chapel Hill government.
You guys should be very vocal in what happens in town, because you like Chapel Hill and you stay.
And he says staying should make UNC alumni care about the direction of local politics.
So that you just have to communicate, talk to people, get an understanding as to where we're going, and let's get there mutually.
Both candidates have experience and plans for improvement. But with Election Day drawing close, there is no clear frontrunner. No matter who wins Tuesday, Foy and Pavao expect to hear more from the students. In Chapel Hill, I'm Renner Vaughn, Carolina Week.
The candidates encourage students to attend town meetings to voice their concerns.
Following closely behind university and town relations are two issues that concern students: transportation and affordable housing. If Kevin Foy is elected, he plans to halt road widening and install more bike paths, sidewalks, and greenways. Lee Pavao also envisions more connecting greenways and bike paths. He also wants to improve public transit in the Triangle, and both candidates agree bus improvements are the solution to managing the town's parking shortage.
There's never going to be enough parking on campus or downtown, you know. So I think what we need to be thinking about is cars are one way to get around, but they're only one way.
If you don't have good bus connection, you're going to try to get closer into town and try to find parking spaces close to the university. So I think that's very, very important. I think we better start it now.
Regarding housing, Foy wants to make on-campus housing more attractive to students and require new developments to include affordable homes. Pavao supports apartment complexes that provide affordable, convenient housing and calls for property owners to better maintain student rentals. Both say the high price of homes threatens the town's diversity.
I do believe that it will create a lot of problems, because coming from a previous university that had no parking at all, they did have a metro system and an extensive bus system, and I do not think that we have those things here.
I read a quote yesterday that said the professors say they have to work here, but we have to live here, and it's a lot easier if we don't have to worry about getting our cars like to the PR line.
One of the major issues affecting Chapel Hill also affects neighboring Carrboro.
Here's what the two mayoral candidates have to say about affordable housing for students. Stacy Smith says students' needs for affordable housing should be the university's responsibility because Carrboro residents feel that students are taking over their neighborhoods. But incumbent Mike Nelson wants Carrboro to be more actively involved in making housing more economical for students. Nelson suggested using public lands to fund a large affordable housing project. Election Day in Chapel Hill and Carrboro is November 6th. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and close at 7:30 p.m. Voters must already be registered with the Board of Elections. To find your voting location, go to our website, carolinaweek.org. In campus politics, following Senior Class Marshal Annie Pierce's resignation, Senior Class Vice President Ursula Dimling withdrew from office Tuesday. Dimling claims there was no room for her in what she called a one-sided administration. But according to Senior Class President Ben Singer, Dimling's refusal to involve class marshals in meetings led him to press for her resignation.
Although the university's development plan promises to add a lot to the university, it may be at the cost of something highly prized and extremely scarce: parking. Last week, transportation and parking officials agreed to eliminate on-campus parking for students in the residence halls. Officials hope their decision will alleviate problems with faculty parking and make more room for development. In this week's Speak Out segment, we asked students if they thought eliminating student parking on campus will create problems.
I do believe that it will create a lot of problems because coming from a previous university that had no parking at all, they did have a metro system and an extensive bus system, and I do not think that we have those things here.
I read a quote yesterday that said the professor said they have to work here, but we have to live here, and it's a lot easier if we don't have to worry about getting our cars like to the PR lot or wherever we keep them.
There's not even enough room in the first place to have somewhere to park, and by eliminating all that, what are we going to do? Where are we going to be parking? That's my question.
Yeah, I think it will create a lot of problems. I don't think they have enough parking as it is now. Parking passes are so much, and it's so hard to get them on campus as it is, and so many people are having cars, and they're bringing new students in and building all these new dorms, and I don't know where everybody's going to put their car.
Next week, we'll tell you more about how the university is dealing with the parking crunch.
79 of North Carolina's prettiest and brightest women got all dressed up over the weekend, and it had nothing to do with Halloween.
And they're not too scary. Their story when Carolina Week continues. Also, the spooky sights and sounds of the ghosts and goblins getting ready to come and haunt Chapel Hill.
You look like the dude from... I hang out with a pretty trashy circle. The circle that helps this circle by recycling trash. We sort glass, plastic, separate cans, stack newspapers and magazines. Now, thanks to us, there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. This cereal box wants your Sunday paper. These paper clips, in a more daring life, a 56 convertible. The circle works like this. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from or packaged in recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. It looks like this. Make a mental note. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free shopping guide. Environmental Defense, finding the ways that work.
The Voice of America headquarters in Washington, D.C. is now on the list of places testing positive for anthrax. Spores were found in the mailroom there Monday. Former Carolina Week reporter Christine Elliott works for Voice of America, and I spoke with her by phone about the reaction at VOA.
It was kind of like shock, just the next step in all of this madness that's going on right now.
What do you get the feel from your coworkers? What is the attitude, and how is it different than it was, 2 days ago?
I think most people are really, really scared. Most people are worried that, this might hit them, this might have already hit them, and so everyone's kind of worried. Everyone's going to his doctor, trying to get tested, and a lot of people called in sick.
Elliott says she's still going to work and won't get tested unless a coworker tests positive for anthrax. Across the country, food companies are stepping up security, fearful they'll be the next target for bioterrorists. But a professor of epidemiology here at UNC Chapel Hill says that for now, the average citizen is safe.
If we handle this without fear, we take the normal precautions on food processing, food handling, and our own personal hygiene, we're probably reasonably well off.
Seed says people should keep going to the grocery store and that it's more likely a bioterrorist would hit major processing plants where foods are packaged than strike our local stores. Still, Seed recommends several steps you can take to be careful. As always, wash your fruits and vegetables, cook meats well, keep food preparation areas clean, and of course, always wash your hands.
Pet owners beware. Rabid raccoons are on the loose in Chapel Hill. Authorities are posting a rabies warning after 3 raccoons tested positive for rabies this month. 2 in the past week. The rabid animals were found in neighborhoods surrounding the Estes Drive and Elliott Road area. Animal Protection Services says don't let your pets run loose during this rabies alert. Turning to other news, on Halloween night, Franklin Street will be packed with people. Police are trying to keep some people out by blocking streets within a mile radius of Franklin Street. Carolina Week's Regina Willis says this year's crowd is supposed to be half of last year's.
But that still leaves 25,000 people, some of who are out looking for costumes. I went to some shops this week to see what people are dying for.
The Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. Take me to your leisure. Now everything's cool. Racks a part of the plan. And my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, the Monster Mash. And to my graveyard smash. Then you can mash.
I couldn't wait to get my costume, but all those last-minute shoppers had better hurry, because pretty soon all the good costumes are going to disappear. Somewhere on Franklin Street, I'm Regina Willis, Carolina Week.
UNC Chapel Hill's Keenan Flagler Business School is teaming up with 4 top schools from around the world in a new executive MBA program. The program is called One MBA, and it's designed to connect a diverse network of business executives from across the globe. Initiated by UNC's Business School, it's the first MBA program to involve a wide variety of schools, drawing from business schools from Brazil, Mexico, the Netherlands, and even China into a single curriculum. It's a 2-year program that starts in September of next year. Do you feel safe on campus? Some students don't because of their sexual orientation. Carolina Week's Craig Ledford tells us about one group trying to change that.
The Safe Zone Network just celebrated its 3rd anniversary. It is a group of students, faculty, and staff who have chosen to be allies to gays and lesbians on the UNC campus. Provost Robert Shelton says his office plans to support the Safe Zone project any way it can.
I urge all of you to sign the Safe Zone Pledge, and I hope your signatures will appear on that sheet with mine.
One of the network's goals is to spread awareness of gay and lesbian issues. Allies want to bridge the divide between the straight and gay communities. The Safe Zone Network is trying to make that connection. It wants students on campus to be sensitive to matters of sexual orientation and to provide gay and lesbian students with a place they can feel safe to voice their concerns. Monday night, the group held a training session for undergraduates who would like to be members of the network. The group discussed what being an ally means, which is not to pass judgment, to be supportive, to speak out against homophobia, to protect the rights of gays and lesbians, and simply to be visible. Someone recently painted a homophobic slur on the cube on campus. Marcy Fisher with the Center for Healthy Student Behaviors says that while she feels the Safe Zone Network has made some progress on campus, there's room for improvement.
There's no doubt that there's a long way to go as far as being a safe place. I think there's also no doubt that the university as an institution is very committed to making the campus an inclusive place and a safe place for all students.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Craig Ledford, Carolina Week.
If you'd like more information about becoming a Safe Zone ally, visit our website at carolinaweek.org.
In an attempt to eliminate cheating, the Carolina Athletic Association is changing the way it handles basketball ticket distribution. This year, the magic number, the number that determines who will get the first tickets, will be drawn in the pit on Fridays. That's a change from last year when the number was drawn on Saturday mornings behind closed doors at the Dean Smith Center. The CAA is also clamping down on students getting more than one bracelet. This year, students are required to swipe their one cards when getting a bracelet. The CAA wants to remind students that having a bracelet doesn't guarantee getting a basketball ticket. Well, the team is getting ready for the season. Players are striking a pose, and Carolina Fever was wrapped around Old Well Tuesday at a photo shoot for the new team poster. The poster, appropriately entitled Get Behind the Hills, features the 4 senior players: Chris Lang, Jason Capel, Brian Bursticker, and Orlando Melendez. Well, it's been a chilly start to the week, and now it's kind of starting to warm up again.
Carolina Week's Kelly Mahoney is here now with weather. Kelly, what's the weekend got in store for us?
Well, luckily, this warming trend is going to continue over the next couple of days despite a weak cold front approaching for the weekend. But we'll talk more about that in just a second. First, let's take a look at this week's weather question, which is the earliest measurable snowfall in Raleigh occurred on October 3rd, November 6th, November the 22nd, or December 12th. I'll be back with the answer and the weekend forecast just after the break.
Hola, soy Mark Anthony para Red, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. La música es una de las cosas más importantes de mi vida, pero nada es más importante que la vida en sí. Cuando tomas y manejas, arriesgas tu vida y la vida de los demás. Así que escoge a un conductor designado.
I wonder how Silent Sam feels about guarding the university from groups of third-grade kids. Maybe he's lost interest. We haven't heard his rifle fire recently. Still he stands, a steadfast defender of something. What is it? No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. The week's chilly beginning has begun to give way to more mild conditions, and here we see the Dawson's Creek production crew taking advantage of the beautiful fall weather here in Chapel Hill. The crew selected the Varsity Theater on Franklin Street to film an upcoming scene for the TV show. And as we head into the beginning of November, the fall foliage behind the scenes probably made a very beautiful backdrop, as right here in the Piedmont area, we are experiencing the peak of color change for the season. If you head out west to the mountains, they're actually beginning to pass the peak, and heading down to the coast, patches of color are just beginning to pop up. Now, as we head into the first week of November, let's take a look at some normal numbers around the region. Our normal high here in Chapel Hill is 62 degrees. Normal low sits right around 40, and we see an average amount of precipitation of about 3 inches over the month of November. All right, well, let's take a look at how we're going to begin this month. And if we look at the satellite, you can see we're sitting high and dry in North Carolina, but behind us is a ton of clouds. That's very indicative of a front that's going to be coming through our area through the weekend. Let's take a look at that front on the forecast surface map, and you can see there's the front sitting right back here. It's a very weak front, so when it passes through our area, luckily we're not going to see that much of a change in temperature. They'll start to dip a bit, and if we take a look at the 4-day forecast, we can see that. On Friday, we're going to sit around 74 degrees. It'll be mostly sunny as we head into the weekend. 73 on Saturday, a high of 71 on Sunday, and we'll start to cool down into the beginning of next week. Lows will be sitting in the lower 50s in the beginning of the weekend, and it'll start to cool off as we head into Sunday night and Monday as that front begins to pass through. If you're heading out to the beach this weekend, the temperatures will be a bit more mild down there. On Saturday, you can expect a high of about 76 degrees, a chance of a shower Saturday night into Sunday, and on Sunday you can expect a high of about 69 degrees. Now, if you're headed out to the mountains, things will be a bit cooler out there, 68 degrees on Saturday. You can expect a high on Sunday of 67. A brisk wind will be blowing under partly cloudy skies, so the weekends will actually, the mountains will actually be a really nice choice for this weekend. And if you're planning on making a short road trip tomorrow or Thursday night down to Atlanta for the football game, we kick off at 7:30 in Atlanta under partly cloudy skies. The game time temperature should be just about 63 degrees. And if we want to get back to the weather question, did you know when the first measurable snowfall was around the area?
I'm going to say D, December 12th.
And I'll say A, October 3rd.
Oh, neither one. Actually, the first measurable snow event took place on November 6th back in 1953.
Wow.
Well, thanks a lot, Kelly. Carolina Week's winter sports are almost here.
And for most Tar Heel fans, that means one thing: basketball.
But don't forget, it also means wrestling and swimming. Speaking of which, the Carolina swim team hosted the Tar Heel Invitational on Saturday. The men's and women's teams dominated the meet, winning 7 of the 8 events. Coach Frank Comfort is in his 24th year at the helm of Tar Heel Swimming and looking to add his 23rd ACC championship. Carolina Week returns after a quick dip into the pool.
Hi, this is Mark Anthony for Red, recording artist, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. Music is one of the most important things in my life, but nothing is more important than life itself. When you do drink and drive, you risk not only your life, but the lives of everybody on the road. So choose a designated driver. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Throughout my career as a coach, I've lived by the simple axiom that behind every individual success story is a team. The success of Durham Public Schools does not depend on one of us, but all of us. Through community involvement and support, we can take a giant step in helping our children achieve their hopes and dreams. You're going to walk with me, and I'm going to help you to be that great soccer player.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. The Heels are hitting for the stretch run in the hunt for ACC titles. We'll start with football. When Carolina coach John Bunting, Julius Peppers, and the 22nd ranked Tar Heels head into Atlanta Thursday night to play Georgia Tech, the Heels' ACC championships may be on the line. Bunting and Peppers say the game against the Ramblin' Wreck will have a championship feel.
We see what's there. What's there is a great opportunity to continue to compete for the ACC championship. The loser of this game will probably be out, and the other one continues to hunt.
It's almost like the ACC championship game, so I think everybody's going to have a little bit of extra incentive to get the job done.
It's time to move on for the Carolina field hockey team. The Heels wrapped up the regular season's home schedule against Virginia on Thursday. This game would be decided by nice offensive efforts by 2 Heels. First up, junior Stephanie Fuller, who runs down a pass from Charlotte Pluge, diving to give Carolina the 1-0 lead. Her replacement, Amber Chambers, doesn't back down from a challenge. Just 6 minutes later, Chambers gets through a crowd in front of the Cavalier goal, tapping in for Carolina's 2nd goal. The shutout is the Heels' 5th at home this season. It gives Karen Shelton her 350th career win. The Heels then traveled to the Virginia coast, where they lost to top-ranked Old Dominion on Saturday, but then rebounded to shut out William & Mary 2-0 on Sunday. Carolina will now look to the ACC tournament right here in Chapel Hill. The 3rd-seeded Heels will play Friday against Wake Forest, a team they've lost to twice this season. Coach Karen Shelton knows what needs to happen to win this weekend.
We need to be tougher. We need to have a blue-collar mentality. We need to work hard. Wake Forest is a very good team, but I think we're right there with them, and if we just do those little things, those simple things that can be hard in the course of a game, we'll be just fine.
The Carolina men's basketball team is gearing up, and fans got another look at this year's squad Thursday night at the Smith Center. Coach Matt Doherty looks on as his squad competes in the traditional blue-white scrimmage. The white team's Chris Lang led all scorers with 18 points. Blue team freshman Jawad Williams helps keep it close, adding 14 points. But the white team holds on for the 1-point victory, 62-61. Despite a recent loss to Wake Forest, the women's volleyball team is still out in front of the ACC. Carolina Week's Megan McCarthy tells us about a program that's on the rise.
The dominance of Carolina's women's soccer, along with the success of field hockey and women's basketball, has created a proud tradition of women's athletics at UNC Chapel Hill. Now the women's volleyball team is taking its place among the elite Carolina teams.
It's not just a fluke that we're legitimately one of the best team right now consistently in the ACC and one of the best teams in the East Coast.
Winning 2 straight ACC tournament championships and 2 of the past 3 ACC regular season titles, the team's seniors believe they've started something special.
This is going to be a very strong program, probably a couple more ACC championships, get into the Sweet 16, see this program going pretty far.
Despite the team's success in the last few years, volleyball is still overshadowed by other women's sports. That just provides more motivation.
We want
Carolina to also be known as a volleyball school, not just a women's soccer or basketball school.
These Lady Tar Heels have a reputation for winning ACC championships, and they're in position to win one more. If they do, they can look forward to improving their reputation in the NCAA tournament. Coach Segula believes that the foundation has been laid.
When a program is defined by how good you're going to be in the future, and I think we're in a pretty good situation right now.
In Chapel Hill, this is Megan McCarthy, Carolina Week.
Now, one Tar Heel athlete that's already won an ACC championship is women's cross-country runner Shalane Flanagan. She won her second title this weekend. And the football game, which is Thursday night in Atlanta against Georgia Tech, freshman quarterback Darian Durant gets his first start of the season.
Ronald Curry getting the bench?
No, he's still recovering from a hamstring injury against Clemson.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. Well, up next, this glittering rhinestone crown will be placed on the head of one of these lucky ladies.
But which one? Find out who when Carolina Week continues.
What's wrong, Mrs. Jenkins? Come on, you can tell me.
Well, there's no funding for the new reading program, and I've tried everything and nothing works. It's not fair. Nobody ever gives me funding.
When adults run out of ideas, they can feel as frustrated as kids. ConnectForKids.org has thousands of resources for helping kids in your community.
Mrs. Jenkins, holding your breath is not going to get you any more funding.
ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
To a child, a little of your time can make a lifetime of difference. That's why the Greenville Family Partnership sponsored a hike, because kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
Standing right in front of them.
Whether you're a good storyteller or a good listener, you can help. To find out about community drug prevention programs, call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313. I can keep a kid off drugs.
It's great that the Salvation Army does so much for the needy during the holiday season.
But you know that isn't all the Salvation Army does. They also run Boys and Girls Clubs.
They also provide relief for those who need it after natural disasters.
And they help the homeless by providing temporary relief and shelter.
They even run summer camp for low-income children.
Need has no season. Please help the Salvation Army help others.
Hey, Mark, where are you going with your piggy bank? I'm going to give my allowance to the Interfaith Council. Why? Mom says they help people, and they need our help, too.
The Interfaith Council helps adults and children through job training, family support, and education. They can't survive without community support. Every donation counts.
I want to help, too.
Call the Interfaith Council at 929-6380.
Many girls dream of being beauty queens, and for a few, these dreams come true.
Carolina Week reporter Nicole Brusick went to the Miss North Carolina USA pageant to show us what we normally see and what we don't.
Like you could lose with one of these girls. Here we go. Our first runner-up is...
Stop before the crowning moment. Rewind back to the steps leading to the main event. First rehearsal, then advice from Chapel Hill grad Julie Roberts.
When you prepare yourself and you want to be on, you just got to be you.
1 hour to showtime. Family and friends arrive.
The audience gets to see what happens on stage at a pageant, but to really see what goes on, you have to go behind the curtains.
Backstage, it's bland to glam. Blush cheeks, curl lashes, polished lips, primping on the outside, getting mentally prepared on the inside. Carolina alumna Lisa Chambers.
I tell myself to be confident, to smile, and to have fun, because that's really what it's about, to have fun.
Women roll their hair, then spray, spray, and spray some more. The crowd cheers. The top 12 are chosen. Backstage, feet ache. On stage, the swimming suit competition as past queens look on. Next, anxious contestants wait their turn as Brooke Helton takes center stage.
I'm a freshman at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
The finalists line up, waiting for the crowning of the queen.
Lose with one of these girls. Here we go. Our first runner-up is Delegate 27, Lucy Parker.
And for those who think this is all superficial,
These girls have lots of substance. Not only are they beautiful on the outside, but in the inside as well.
Pageant supporters say that's the message they're trying to send. In High Point, I'm Nicole Bursick, Carolina Week.
The Miss North Carolina USA and Miss North Carolina Teen USA pageants were held at the same time.
Neat to get a behind-the-scenes look at all that stuff.
Yes, it's been great.
A lot more goes into it than you would have ever thought, you know?
But on another note, Tim, what are you doing for Halloween tonight? Going as anybody special?
I don't even have a costume picked out just yet.
You sure about that?
Well, I might not want to tell you exactly what it is.
Oh, it's a surprise.
Yes, it is. And speaking of that, that's all the time we have for you on Carolina Week this week. As always, we leave you with our contact information, and then today we'll bring you the sights and sounds from the Tar Heel Invitational Band Competition, which was held here in Chapel Hill last weekend.
And have a good week and a good night.
Good night.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.